When you are a part of Yah establishing his house, you have to keep first things first. Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day 2 of Yaakov. We are continuing in Shemot, or Exodus, chapter number 35. Today we read verses 2 and 3. Work is done for 6 days, but on the 7th day it shall be set apart to you, a Shabbat of rest to Yahweh. Anyone doing work on it is put to death. Do not kindle a fire in any of your dwellings on the Shabbat day. Yah has just assembled through Moshe his people to bring to them his instructions about establishing his dwelling place in their midst. Foundationally, he establishes this call to them upon the Shabbat. Let's go back to Bereshit, to Genesis chapter number 2, the first 3 verses. Thus the heavens and the earth were completed in all of their array, and in the 7th day Elohim completed his work which he had done, and he rested in the 7th day from all his work which he had made. And Elohim blessed the 7th day and set it apart. He set it apart, because on it he rested from all of his work which Elohim in creating had made. Now let's be very, very clear. Yah is not resting because he's tired. He is resting to signify my work and establishing the heavens and the earth, setting all the time of mankind, all the plan for the continuing of ages is all established. Everything is done. I've spoken, I've called it into being, and this is the way it's going to be. He set this day apart. Yah did this. Any argument that we hear that a different day has been established for us would have to include the understanding that some man, some human institution, some earthly authority has found a greater authority and a greater power than that of the Most High in order to choose a different day. Yah chose the 7th day. In any way you count it, that is Shabbat. It is scripturally, evening and morning were the first day, nightfall on Friday night through nightfall on Saturday. And you can try to measure it any other way. You can try to say, well, they changed it. Who was they and when did they do it? And where was it prophesied that they would do it? And where did Yah agree with that? It's nowhere to be found. And I have become acquainted with various folks over the years who they started out this search about Shabbat, and it led them to accepting Shabbat, changing their worship routine, changing their focus, and by choosing to honor the Shabbat, they themselves became changed. If you're going to try to share anything of the Torah with someone else, if you're going to feast days or the lives of the patriarchs or covenant or any tabernacle, any of those things, first things first, everything is founded upon recognition of Shabbat. Is there a difference between Shabbat and Sabbath? And that's a very good question, and I'm glad that you brought that up. Sabbath tends to be the day that men choose. When you read the Hebrew text, the word has an SH sound in the first letter. So instead of Sabbath, it is Shabbat. There's only one Shabbat. Men have created various Sabbaths, but there's only one Shabbat. Now, maybe that's drawing a fine line, and maybe it's based on technicality, but I do find it interesting that when men choose a different day other than the 7th day, they never refer to it as Shabbat. They always call it Sabbath. So the Shabbat, there's only one. And Yah says that this has to be observed first before you understand how to build my dwelling place. Now, Shabbat is not just being recognized on one day of the week. Wait a minute, Barry, you said it has to be one particular day. Hear me out. The observance of Shabbat is not just about ceasing your work on that day and resting with the Most High. It is also about doing your work on the other 6 days. If we're not working and only resting all the days of the week, then there's no differentiation, I said that correctly, between the 6 days and the 7th day. So we do our labor days 1 through 6, Sunday through Friday down to nightfall. That's our time to work. And on those days, we do our work, we do our hobbies, we do our endeavors, we make our own plans, we do our own thing, whatever that might be. But when it comes to Shabbat, we shift gears and everything changes. So then that there is a recognition of a divide, we work and then we rest. But then there is another way of looking at this. Shabbat is not just about physically resting to recover from the week that you've just experienced. A rabbinical mind once stated that it is actually the reverse, that we employ the Shabbat and we enjoy this rest with Him, and we give our spirits a time to download from Him and to be refreshed in Him to prepare us for the week that is in front of us. So this is not about rest and recovery. This is about rest and preparation. It might be argued then that the better or the more fully engaged that you are in experiencing Shabbat, the more prepared you are for the week that is in front of you. So if we're just trying to catch up on Shabbat, we might be missing the purpose. It might be that we need to understand what I hear from Him, what I'm learning from Him, what I'm discerning of Him. And this place called Shabbat is what I need to take with me to help me to experience more fully and more fruitfully the days that are ahead. And then there's another aspect to Shabbat. And again, this comes from rabbinical minds. I do like it. And that is that there is an expanded capacity within our soul or our spirit, our innermost being, to receive of Him. In other words, Yah has our fuller attention, and He can impart to us more of what it is that He's wanting to teach and share and be with us. But that also our capacity to receive that has a doubling or an increasing. That's an encouraging thought. The thing is, Shabbat is not what you do. Shabbat is more about the place that you step into. If you are ever in the land of Israel, Jerusalem in particular, and you are approaching Shabbat, yes, it has become in many ways a cultural event. Yes, there are very observant people pertaining to Shabbat still. But even those that are secular in their awareness of things, there is this rushing to prepare. The marketplaces will be closing early, so you want to go early to get any foods that you might need in order to prepare not only for the evening meal, but for what you're going to eat during the following day. And this is not a time for hot dogs. This is a special meal. So you spend a little extra, you do a little more, you dress up. They rush into Shabbat. They run to embrace it. They change their clothes. They put the best china out, the tablecloths. It's a special event because the King's coming. And it's our time alone with Him. So let's set our hearts to be refined about Shabbat and do first things first. We'll see you again tomorrow. Till then, shalom.